How's it going, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And if you tuned into the live stream, obviously you guys have kind of seen the carnage out of the wife's crew cab motor. But today we're going to be going over our findings for the wife's crew cab project. And thank you all for tuning into that live stream. It's absolutely awesome to hang out with you guys, answer your questions to the best of my ability. And if you'd like to see a live stream kind of like that again, please let us know. We do have live streams planned in the future, and we'll go over that with you guys when the time comes. But we're going to inspect the carnage of the crew cab there, and kind of what things we can do to prevent some of these things. Of course, not all of them are preventable, but what signs to kind of look out for some of these specific things. So let's get into the carnage. So one of the things that the previous owner had told me was that this motor had a suspected busting crank. So I knew exactly kind of what I was getting into, what to expect when tearing this motor apart. But one of the problems that this truck had was the harmonic balancer. Discussing the harmonic balancer, this is a two-piece system, and you have an outer and an inner, and then there'd be a little rubber bushing that would go in between the two, and it is adhered to both of them, so when you spin the crank over, both of these are going to rotate. This had since separated. Definitely a well-known wear item and a big cause for concern, especially if this has delaminated and come apart. It can definitely break a crank, which is why I think the previous owner thought that it had busted a crank. And we actually talked to the owner prior to him about what he found, because the previous owner, Will, bought this truck not running and then sold it to me. But the problem lied with the owner before Will. So he suspected that it had a busted crank and stuff like that. This being a tall tale sign, he wasn't far off. Another thing to look out for when keeping up with maintenance with your 6.5 would be the crankshaft pulley. So this is also a two-piece system, and you can see kind of right here all these little weather cracks and stuff like that. So you have an inner hub and an outer hub that is for where your serpentine belt will go on. Then you have this rubber piece in the middle that will delaminate and weather crack, and this is so bad I can almost push it out. So definitely another thing to keep a lookout for. I would obviously recommend replacing the harmonic balancer with a fluid dampener and going with a billet pulley. Those two won't necessarily prevent your crank from breaking, but it does ensure longevity. It does help prevent that from happening. That being said, that was not the case for this engine. Let's go over a few other things that were kind of contributing the ultimate downfall of this engine. So as you can see right here, the motor is upside down. This is your crankshaft, and this is your camshaft timing gear, and you have your timing chain. Another known issue for these 6.5s was this timing chain would wear out, and that is so excessive slop. This timing chain was definitely fighting against this truck, and it would have certainly thrown a code. There would have been a check engine light on, and all that owner had to do was read the codes. Realistically, it would have, where this is a 97 truck, it would have had a check engine light, and it would have had a code for camshaft timing, something like that, and the owner should have definitely looked into it a little further to save this engine. So to prevent this from happening, there's really no prevention. It's a chain, it's going to wear out, much like if you have a chainsaw. You know, the slack will come out as the chain weighs out. or if you have a pedal bike, of course the chain will loosen up as time goes on. This is no different. Chains are known for wearing out. They're just a wear item, of course. But one thing to help prevent catastrophic failure when dealing with the timing chain is when that check engine light on or the truck starts running funny, check your damn codes. I don't care what running condition your truck has, the very first thing that you should do is check the code. See what it's telling you. Do a damn Google and research the code itself. See what other people have run into issues with that code, what they have found, and that will give you a general idea of kind of where to start. Do the easy things first just to eliminate those possibilities, and then get more serious with it if the problem continues. It could be the code for a bad timing chain will be related to the optical sensor as well. It doesn't see that your ejection pump is in time because you have a tone ring on the crankshaft right here, and that little pickup will throw, it works in conjunction with the optical sensor in order to read proper time. Look at the code, understand what it's telling you. This could have been, all this damage could have been prevented, and this was just one thing that was fighting it. So the most important thing, in my opinion, to do with any sort of engine powered vehicle that you have is proper maintenance. Proper maintenance isn't the end all be all. This will take care of every single problem you're going to run into. But it is so important to do proper maintenance. It will help prevent catastrophic failure. This is brand new engine oil. You can see it's nice and brown, got a really nice color to it, as it should. This is particularly full synthetic. Doing your proper oil changes, it ensures the viscosity of the oil, it ensures that the oil is clean, that it has been properly filtered and gone through. I primarily do my oil changes every 3,000 miles, and I know a bunch of people say that's a little excessive, you're wasting money, so on and so forth, but I would rather end my oil cycle with still good oil than end it on horrible oil with less lubricating properties and for potential wear to my bearings, such as my main bearings, my cam bearings, stuff like that. I do not want the massive amounts of wear. I want the minimalist of wear possible, and doing proper oil changes will help with the wear cycle. This is old oil. You can see that it pours out much like water. The lubricating qualities of it have kind of dissipated. They're not like the new oil at all, and it's not supposed to be. It's used up, it's not as lubricating, and that is what you're running with old engine oil. I don't like it to get to that point. I don't want excessive wear happening to my engine. But this is the motor oil that come out of the engine. And a little more. Oh, so that is no longer motor oil. That is pudding and engine pieces. This is a cup of the carnage. It obviously was not a broken crank. These are, well, this is what would be a number 8 piston. So this particular truck got really hot, and it lost basically all power. Started pumping oil into the turbo because there's no piston there to prevent oil going into the turbo or the exhaust, and this is what we are left with. It is just bad, broken rings, completely destroyed piston, and we'll show you here in the block. Where the engine is sitting upside down, we have our main caps. Number 2 main cap. I took all these off just to inspect everything, but number 2 main, the main bearing spun. What caused that was lack of oil, and it got hot and started melding itself to the crank, and it spun the bearing right out of where it was supposed to be. What happens when that occurs is it drops your damn oil pressure down to 0, because there's a little oil hole on the back side or on the block side that comes and feeds oil to the crank through the crank bearing. Once that shifts, that oil hole is plugged off, and then more wear and tear started to happen, to the point where number 8 piston decided it wanted to let go. And if you can see right there, the engine block is cracked. So unfortunately, this block is completely destroyed. There is realistically no point in me going any further with this motor. I could pay a shop to sleeve the block and hone it down, stuff like that, get a new crank for it and so on and so forth, but I don't really want to do that with this engine. Realistically speaking, the amount of work that would have to go into this block to make it good again is about the same amount I would be paying for a short block, which to me doesn't make any realistic sense. I would rather buy a short block that doesn't have any issues. Not that this block isn't repairable, but at the state that it is right now, it is a giant paperweight. So I will be on the hunt for a new short block or a long block or even a full engine if somebody has one sitting around and they are looking to part with. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, or leave a message here in the comments and I'll be sure to answer you back. It may take me a minute, but I will be taking a trip up to Illinois and Maine here in the next couple months, so if you are on the way, I will have no problem picking it up and getting it out of your way. So to round everything out, do your proper maintenance. Now that doesn't mean that this won't happen even if you do so, but to prevent this from happening, or to put peace of mind that it's not likely to happen, again, not saying that it's not going to happen even if you do proper maintenance, but the likelihood of this happening will significantly decrease if you do your proper maintenance. You keep up on things like your harmonic balancer or your timing chain, everything like that. You know, it's just take care of your engines. This was really unfortunate for this poor 506 block. I know I have that 141 block that is sitting in my shed that has the main web cracks. I've debated about rebuilding it and throwing it in, or just getting the main web cracks fixed. There's a few companies out there that are willing to do that, but cost-wise, it may just be more beneficial to find an engine that was once upon a time running when pulled, and go through it and do a rebuild on that, versus trying to get everything fixed just so I can rebuild it. I think the smartest way to go would be to just get a new one, or a reman short block or a long block. That way I don't have to worry about the heads as well, because those heads are pretty well chewed up. Those are good cores. This I can use as a core, and yeah, so all in all, take care of your engines. Don't let this happen to you. Do your proper maintenance, oil changes, grease your damn truck so your ball joints are okay. Do oil analysis, stuff like that. But I guess that's gonna round it out. So thank you everybody so much for watching, and again, thank y'all who tuned into the live stream and watched me tear this engine down live, answering your questions, and you got to see firsthand the carnage of said engine. It was an absolute blast, and thank you all who donated to the PayPal. It greatly will help me out in going back with this project of the wife's crew cab. I greatly appreciate it. And if any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll be sure to answer them. It may take me a hot minute to get to them, but nevertheless, I will get around to them. And if you are interested in any other IDI specific stuff, IDI Legends on Instagram, Facebook, go check out our website. I'll leave all those links in the description. Any ideas, please let us know. And we'll catch you legends in the next one.